She's just trying to figure it out. There we go. Hi, this is Chris Simon,
Tracy, Royce,
Luke Rodvold,
and this is the Red Room. Tracy, Luke, and I jump on every week to talk about real estate, acquisition,
a lot of fix and flip,
and design,
dispositions,
Airbnbs,
financial independence, retire early.
We always have a new guest every single week.
We're going to have a lot of fun, all right?
So if you're interested in any or all of those, make sure to join us on the Red Room podcast.
And subscribe to the Red Room.
Share it with your friends or join us on the Phoenix RIA Facebook. All right, we're back and we're all here.
All right, man, I'm still getting jacked up by that intro, I tell you.
Tracy.
Yeah, that's a nice intro.
Is Tracy frozen? Tracy's frozen, I think.
Tracy. She'll be back.
Yeah. All right. So we got Victor on today. Little market update. Like inventory slowly creeping up, but nothing crazy. We started the year at like 23,000, and then it's kind of just crept up to like 26,000. And one of your cell phones is maybe getting a little feedback, or maybe mute while other people are talking.
Better?
Yeah, better. No, I think it's good. Maybe just look while everybody else is talking.
Luke, perhaps do you have headphones or earbuds?
There we go. All right, so back to market update. We started at 23,000. We've crept up to 26,000, but I think every realtor and loan officer in the last 2 days has put out that, hey, we've dipped back under 6% mortgages again. I mean, FHAs I think are like 5.65, right in that range. So definitely, hopefully, we have a strong March. We've had a pretty decent start of the year from all the stuff I hear. Mortgage originations are up, properties are moving. I just think people are putting their house on the market that maybe took it off the market last fall. But things are looking good. And I think if mortgage rates continue down, I read a report today that they could see the 10-year dip into like 3.9, 3.85, which would get a conventional at like 5 3/4, which obviously I think would be, might move some people off the fence that wanted to actually get rid of that 4% mortgage. So anyway, that's the latest news. We got Victor here, and this is kind of an interesting subject that we've actually never talked about. Wholesaling in, and I know this, Luke knows this, wholesaling in this market, or especially Maricopa County, is a there is a doing it, and you get really slim margins. But a lot of people have noticed that luxury is a product that's moving well right now in Scottsdale, Phoenix, Paradise Valley. So I just started getting texts from Victor about, a lot of luxury deals he's sending me. And I was like, hey, let's talk about luxury, because all of a sudden you do a wholesale deal, and instead of getting like 15, 17 grand, you're getting like 50, 60 grand. So I thought it was a good conversation we could all jump into.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
I think it'll be great for this audience to hear.
Yeah. So Victor, tell us kind of how you made that transition.
Well, I mean, it's really just what I've been seeing in the market. I mean, I've been doing, wholesaling and some flips since 2018. But my biggest deal to date was a luxury piece of land that we made $100,000 on. So that was years back, right? And I'm like, well, shoot, lately our deals, the deal sizes have been 7, 12, 15. Like it's hard to push to 20. it's been tough. And I think, a lot of flippers that I've talked to, they're really struggling. I talked to some of the big dogs and some of the guys. One friend, they were doing 35 flips a month, and then they're like, "Yeah, we're losing on a few, we're making money on a few, we're losing on a few." Of course, they're not doing 35 a month anymore, but they're still the ones they are doing, they're losing money on. I talked to
Yeah.
another guy. He's like, "I'm just doing enough to keep my team fed." So,
Yep.
and because of that, you guys know this, they're offering 55 cents on the dollar. It's hard to get deals that cheap. But then I see on the flip side, the guys that are doing well, it's higher end properties. So, and then we had a challenging year last year. We started looking at our assignments, our fees, and it's lower end property. So I think the key is, if people don't want to get into luxury, at the very least, you want to go to higher end properties. I think that's the key if you want to make more money. And I think a good rule of thumb is you're going to make 10% of the value of the property. So typically, if it's worth $500,000, you're going to make 50, right? But if it's
Yeah.
$100,000 property, you're going to make 10 grand if you're lucky. So I think that's kind of what we've been focusing on, just to go more high end.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree with what you're saying there. It's definitely leaves more meat on the bones. Obviously, I think that the most difficult thing in my eyes with obviously luxury is that, it's a bigger nut as well, right? It's to be able to dive into luxury, it can be a little bit more difficult, just with the sense of, well, especially if you're going to flip luxury, of course. But even
Yeah.
even when it comes to, assignments and wholesaling luxury, you've got higher EMDs. You've got people are strict, obviously, talking about wholesaling people's multi-million-dollar houses, which, for good reason. But again, it's the reward is there if you can figure it out.
Yeah, I think the key is you're transparent with the seller of the property of what you're doing, but you have to have the relationships in advance. So, we reached out to a lot of the luxury home builders, the luxury flippers, but also too, Chris has a huge network of buyers as well. So there's
Yeah.
definitely opportunities there, right? It does take a little bit more work. You're gonna do less deals, but you'll make bigger money per deal. So
Yeah.
I rather work less. I'm okay with that. I prefer
Well,
that. So
I'd love to ask you a question with that transition as well, because whether it's students from Flip School or people in passing, they say, well, why don't I just do luxury? And they've never even done, a handful of entry level price point or move up price point, thinking that, well, just by virtue of economics, I should be doing luxury. And then they really don't know what they're doing. So what did that
Yeah.
transition look like to be able to go from, let's say, a 450 price point to $1 million plus price point?
Well, the thing with us, we're not doing luxury flips. We're doing more
Mm.
wholesale. The reason is, yeah, on a luxury flip, I think you got to put minimum 200 to 400,000 on the flip, right? It just really depends. You got to go.
No question
I
about
did
it.
a flip. Yeah, I did a flip in Charlotte. It was a $700,000 home. I tried to hotel it, and we lost money on it.
Mm.
The guy that we sold it to, he put like 250 into it, and he crushed it. He ended up getting like 900,000 for it. So, if you want to do flips with a luxury, you gotta put money into the remodel, because if not, you're gonna lose your ass.
Yeah.
No, there's
Yeah.
there's no question about that. So we actually, Tracy, I know you and Chris know this, but we've been doing that luxury Victorian home in Prescott.
Yeah. Hmm.
So we were up there last weekend getting it all furnished and everything. So Vic, one thing that we've been doing a little bit is, if we find the right property, we'll find something. Obviously, I like older stuff personally. That's just kind of who I am. I do a lot of stuff up in North, like Prescott, Flagstaff, and so we just picked up one house, the 1877 built, so it's a 150-year-old home,
Oh
and
wow.
it didn't move on the market. Yeah, it didn't move on the market because, obviously, I mean, if you walked this thing, it was falling apart. And when you have a 150-year-old home falling apart, you know that you need to come in and do pretty much everything to the property you can imagine.
Yeah.
So we're exactly what you're saying though. Our rehab on this one was over 300 grand.
Mhm.
But again, I'm dropping a video on this tomorrow. I love that price point in Prescott though, especially with older stuff like that, because I mean we ended up picking it up 510. We put 300 into it, so I mean we're all in right around 800 grand right now, and I just got the appraisal back this morning at 1.220. And so I mean it's like that's the stuff exactly what you're saying. That's a 33%, almost 33% on what you're all into it versus what it appraised for. You just don't find that when you're dealing with a couple $100,000 homes,
Yeah, correct. And I was just thinking about it. There's been times where I've paid people's mortgage payments and the electric bills, and I even bailed the guy out of jail once. And a lot of times you do it just to get the deal, and then the deal's kind of small, right? So I mean,
Right.
I'm like, if I'm gonna, you got to create value for sellers, right, and for your buyers. If I'm gonna create a lot of value and go through all these hoops and hooplas, I want to make sure I make money at the end of the day, and that's what hiring properties allow you to do. I mean, there's a niche at $1 million up, 2 million, 3, 5. I mean, at every level, there's different niches you can make money at. It just it's just less work for more money. That's the way I see it. You got to be
Right.
more transparent. That's one thing I did realize. You have to be more transparent. But if you're transparent, if you provide value, if you give the sellers options, they're very open to it. It just makes a difference.
No,
It looks
absolutely.
like Chris might have froze up. It looks like.
So one thing that I've kind of, did I freeze up?
Oh, you did for a
Am I
second. You're
back?
good now.
Okay.
Yeah.
One thing that I kind of notice, and I've done some luxury wholesaling in the past, is you just got to spend a little bit more time digging in, right? Like, okay, let's just say you get a lot in 85254. It's everybody's favorite spot, right? Everybody's wholesaling 85254 lots right now. So, but the good thing is you can you get on everybody's email chain and you see what's transacted in the square mile in the last kind of 90 days, and you really can go find the buyers in what, 30 minutes, because there's only like 5 LLCs, 10 LLCs buying in that area, and then it's a little bit do all your work up front and then just start dialing for dollars. And that leads to my next question. Like, do you get the relationship with the seller and then kind of pre-sell it before you lock it up, or are you just contracting it and then or because some of these custom builders, you can say, hey, I got a lead right here, kind of what would you give me for it?
Yeah, I'm trying to do more reverse wholesaling because I don't want to lock up a property and not be able to move it. So I'm doing more reverse wholesaling. So I'll get the property, identify it, and then send it to a couple guys that I know are good buyers, and then get an offer and go from there. So that's what I'm doing. I mean, you could do both, but I mean, I like to make sure I have someone that's going to be able to put up the EMD of 30, 40,000 for me. That's ideal, right?
Yeah.
And then they're going to buy the property. So that's what I'd like to do. But if I know it's a smoking good deal, if I know for a fact I'm going to sell it, then yeah, you'll lock it up.
There just seems like there's definitely, I mean, there's a lot of momentum in that market right now, maybe even more so than just kind of that middle market.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. I agree. I just the way I am, I want to make sure I perform for my sellers. So I like to do that, but I mean, both options work 100%. And again, if I think it's a smoking good deal, then yeah, I'll lock it up and then I'll try to sell it.
Yeah. And you've always done novations in the past. Have you actually tried to convert any of these to novations at all?
I haven't. Now another reason we went to luxury is because my wife got her real estate license. So now if I'm talking to a seller and they don't want to sell it at a discount, I'm like, hey, well, we can list the property for you at a discount. So that's another reason we shifted more to luxury. It just gives us more options. So and that's working out as well. We got a few listings already. So that's working out. So we're able to monetize those leads much easier.
Well, yeah, and then, I mean, if you get a listing on a $2 million property, even if you're taking
Yeah,
a
I mean, if you
point
charge
on a
2
lead.
points, a point, yeah, point and a half, you're making 30,000 on a point and a half. Yeah, 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
So
that also really speaks to the difference in what's happening in the economy, whereas a lot of lower price point
Yeah.
homeowners are maybe struggling more. And then the luxury sellers and luxury buyers are probably a lot more stable and transacting
Yep.
a lot more too. I know that they floated a lot of the statistics that we're seeing for this last year, especially like just the volume level has a lot to do with what's happening in the luxury segment. So I think it's really smart to pivot into that, even if it's just a vertical alongside what they've been doing. Really intelligent to decide to add that in and figure it out. And also not have a ton of exposure. Like you said, I don't want to put two or $300,000 into it when I can make a decent rep just wholesaling.
Oh
yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
exactly.
Well, I think that that's also what with the reverse wholesaling helps so much with exposure as well. Because if you've already got a buyer, if you already know exactly what your buyers are looking for, it just makes it so much easier. I mean, it takes that pressure off of you of like, man, if I don't get this sold, I don't really know what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to have to cancel. I'm going to lose my earnest money. I'm going to piss these people off. They're going to come after me. All the different things that can happen. But again, obviously, if you're searching for something that somebody's already basically straight up told you, this is what I want, and then you find it for them, if you've got a good relationship with them, it makes it a lot easier. That's for sure.
Yeah, the big thing too is like, I'm very data driven, so and I have a lot of friends in the business, as you guys, we all do. And so we talk. It's good. That's a good thing about talking to other people and being in masterminds, etc., because you're able to find out like what's working, what's not working, like what guys are crushing it, what guys are not crushing it, what guys are losing money. And then based on that, like, well, shoot, everyone that I know that's doing well, it's at a higher price point. So like let's go that route. It's not rocket science. I think the guys
Yeah.
that are in the 350 to 700 price range are getting crushed right now, right? So and the lower end properties, I think they're great, but as you know, if you got a good deal under 200, it's going to sell in 5 minutes, right? If it's a good deal, right? Like those are
Yeah.
hard to find. You can't really find those. So it's a good transition for us.
Yeah, I think the other thing that you're still noticing too is that we have a property that's in Mesa that we just got an offer in on, and they're asking for in the offer they're asking for 5% concessions.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm like, whoa, 5%! Like, just want me to just pay for the property for you, or what are we doing here? But
Wow.
it's
Yeah,
like
well, I think on ovations. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, as I said, at that lower price point, you have to at this point right now you have to expect that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think on ovations, the average concession is like 3%. Yeah, it's crazy.
Speak to that a little bit, Victor, because you guys have also started doing more novations. So can you talk to what that looks like? Is there a certain price point that you stay in with that, and how are you adding that into what you guys are doing right now?
You mean on ovations?
Yeah.
So on ovations, yeah, you got to figure whatever you're gonna think you're gonna sell it at. You factor in like 10% right off the top for commissions, closing costs, and concessions. So you have to kind of be the nicest house, as is the nicest house and cheapest house on the block, right? And then you just still factor in 10% off of that. But even then, like, to be honest, everyone I talk to that does novations and even ourselves, everyone's doing reductions. Like at the end of the day, you get an offer, it's a low offer. You still got to do a reduction because the buyer you wants concessions or they're asking for a discount or this or that. It's a challenge. So you're doing price reductions on almost every single deal because you have to. So we're still doing ovations because they do pay us. We just closed on one today, but it's easier to deal more high end properties versus the lower end.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So how do
Sorry,
you,
guys.
how do you
Okay, if you're wondering the reason real quick why I'm just getting up and walking so often, I'm in like a little courtyard of this complex that I've got a property in that I'm putting furniture into, and I've got these three little kids. They're not my kids, but they're just three kids that they keep following me around.
Oh my God.
And they're just playing and they're loud, and so they're like, "Yeah, you don't want to hang out?" I was like, "Sorry, guys, no."
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
literally
Yeah,
like a
we
podcast right now.
Yeah, we heard them in the background.
I'm telling you, I'm not joking when I say this. I have just been walking back and forth because they keep playing soccer right next to me. And then I go one spot and then they go follow me over there. And then I go to this other one and they're following me over here. It's pretty funny.
So, Victor, it sounds like a lot of what you're saying keeps coming back to luxuries working, playing in that higher price point. Are you guys planning to lean in more as far as what you do business wise as the year progresses, or are you just kind of seeing what flushes out in terms of what's working and then diving in where you're seeing that people already have proof of concept?
No, yeah, we're gonna lean into it more. We're not gonna go all in on luxury. Like we're still gonna do our normal marketing innovations. And if there's opportunities at a lower price point, of course. I guess here's the thing: like before, and I think Chris knows this, everyone would focus on 400,000 and lower,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
like you didn't touch stuff above 400,000. Nobody went after that because they were too hard to lock up, etc. But now, like we're ignoring that. Now we're like, hey, if it's a $2 million house, we'll go after it. If it's a 800,000, if it's a $5 million house, we'll go after it. Now it doesn't matter. We're not really paying attention to that anymore because it doesn't really work in this market. So we're just we're not 100% focused on luxury, but we're going after it. But anything else that comes along, we'll take it as well. But again, like I mentioned, it's hard to find good deals at the lower price point.
Now, Vic, are you doing
You know.
only Arizona or are you doing virtual wholesaling as well?
Mm.
No, we're doing other markets as well. We
Awesome.
started testing luxury in Arizona, but we're
Okay.
actually just starting to go into Florida as well.
Okay.
Florida's luxury market, as you know, it's much stronger than Arizona's. So we're going into Florida as well.
Chris, do you know anybody that does deals in Florida or lives in Florida or likes real estate in Florida?
No, yeah, I mean, we did 32 deals in Florida in January, so we're
Wow.
definitely
Jeez.
so.
Yeah. Well, when I was doing research, there was about 112 houses over $10 million in Arizona and listed on the market, and new builds, right? And in Florida it was like 750. So
Wow.
there's just a much bigger demand for luxury in Florida than there is Arizona.
That was over $1 million, you said?
Over $10 million.
Over 10 million. You said there was
Over 10 million, yeah.
750 and you said there
700
was
and
100
750. And there's
versus
like
100.
112 on, yeah, 112 on the market in Arizona and 750 in Florida. So what does that tell you? There's a lot more builders for luxury in
Yeah,
Florida than Arizona.
for sure.
So
Water
yeah.
sells.
Yeah, exactly. So as well, and I think those would probably be the only two markets for now. California, I think it's just too competitive. So Florida and Arizona probably be our core markets for luxury.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. You have core parts of your business. Like you said, you're not letting them go. You're just
Yeah,
not necessarily retooling. I think it's really important for investors of every level to think, well, what else am I doing to be able to pivot, to be able to sustain my as well, is that you didn't burn all the bridges and go all in and not do these things. I'm moving into one other market because I've pulled the data. It's very thoughtful. My wife got her license, so we can also get commissions from that. Sometimes I think that we as entrepreneurs just we move around so much with forgetting the goose that laid the golden egg and really watching what it
yeah.
is that's really going too heavy into something rather than just incrementally.
I was working with one luxury builder, and I haven't closed a substantial amount of deals. That's why that relationship started just because we started doing luxury, and now they're going to
Right.
fund I think like 12 to 15 of their projects, and these are high dollar projects. So just getting yourself out there.
I love it. You love a pivot, in the same industry, but obviously just taking like a different angle, and still crushing it in it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I once we close on those, I'll give you guys the details. I don't want to jinx it.
for sure.
Well, I'll say your transparency is actually really refreshing because I think a lot of guys hold their cards so close to their chest that it's like you wouldn't know that their flips aren't doing well or that a certain portion of their business flopped after a market cycle change. And I think when you come on here and you've been just honest about it, it's just quite refreshing because it's not all rainbows and puppies and
Yeah,
making profits on
Yeah.
every single thing is
yeah.
Instagram would have you believe. So on that
Yeah.
note, if someone were in that entry level price range and maybe wanted to start doing wholesaling for luxury, what's a couple actionable steps that they could take?
Well, the first thing is I think you want to find a couple of luxury builders. You can just look those up on Google. That's one route. What I did also, I pulled data on PropStream. I saw all the properties that were listed on the market for 5 million and up, that were for sale and then built in 2025. So those are your builders, right? So that's the first step, and then just reach out to them. But also too, you got to get some deals, right? So that's another option. So I think that's the best way to go about it. Just reach out, build these relationships. But also too, like just a lot of times just sending deals to Chris. Chris has such a big network of buyers.
Yeah.
That's a great option. Just have Chris, blast them out, and go that route. Right. So, but also too, I think you got to be aware of your market as well. Like we analyze the market. Like if we see a pending rate that's 20%, 25%, pending, just for sale, I'm not going to work in that market, right? And I know some guys that are absolutely crushing it, and there's one guy that's pending rate, it's 71%. So I think a lot of it is you got to know your market. You got to crunch your numbers. You got to check the busting your ass, but you're not in the right market, and you're not going to be successful.
Right.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do, I think, is lock up luxury and then not be able to sell it, because I kind of feel like they don't do it properly. I mean, they got deeper pockets. They can create some
into, but the wholesaler, whoever we sold it to, they didn't happen. I work with a few builders. We're going to get you the best price. Depending on who it is, I'll let you know, and I'll make you the offer based on that. So I'm very transparent. I pretty much I don't use the word wholesaling. Luxury builders, we're going to get you the best offer, based on that relationship. So I'm very transparent about that. Because though they might know that, if you're not going to be the buyer or not, these guys are smart. They're not dumb, so I'm very transparent about that. I just say, hey, we work with luxury builders in the area, the top 5. Let me see what I can do for you. That's what I do. Well, that's how I like to do business.
Oh yeah. Well, I think that's the best way to do it if you're building, long-term relationship. If you're not being, it could still go very smooth. Always better just be upfront and honest at the very get-go.
Yeah, especially if it's someone that has a 3, because then they're going to just go at you. They're going to question everything. They're going to tear you apart, because these are smart people, right? They've been around. So I'm like, hey, listen, and developers, I want to get you the best price for your property. And that's what I do. And they're like, okay, sounds fair enough. So
right.
Yeah.
Keep crushing it, and let me look at all your luxury deals.
All right. I got 19 I'm working on, so I'll be sending them to you.
There
Awesome.
it is.
There we go.
Yeah, so cool.
Thanks,
right.
Vic. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Vic. Great to have you on again.
No, thank you guys. Good to see you guys, and hopefully we can do it again.
Absolutely. I love it.
Hey, thanks for watching that episode. And this is the start of your real estate journey. There's over 100 episodes and a bunch of playlists. And please hit subscribe before you move on to the next video.